Thank you for watching the Shikama Live Show with your host, Shikama. I've never done this before, but I did some more research on my very last video, which was the father shooting the young teenage boy caught in his daughter's room, his 16-year-old daughter's room at 2 a.m. A couple of things people said that I wanted to respond to in light of more of the research. First of all, it was said by the classmates of the young girl that the father and the entire family was very strict. The children could not do anything. They did not have any friends. Nobody talked to them because their family was very strict. You just don't talk to them. You don't bother them. You don't do anything. Because the family was very strict. They couldn't do anything. They couldn't go anywhere. They couldn't have friends over. None of that. They came home, did their homework, and went to bed. Came home, did their homework, had dinner, went to bed, and that was it. Now, witnesses and friends of the young man that was shot and killed, you're judged by the company you keep. So, in the interviews that I saw of his friends who were crying, they had tattoos, they had their earlobes were stretched with big hoops. Let's call things the way they are. None of this politically correctness. I don't deal in that. He's hanging around hoodlums. He's hanging around wannabe gangsters. He's hanging around people who think they are cool and they're going nowhere. What kind of job? And this world runs on money. This country runs on money. Let's get to reality. This country runs on money. He's hanging around people who are going absolutely nowhere. So he attacks Fort Knox. Strict father, strict parents, people who don't even associate with them because they are afraid of the family. She's still 16, so he weasels himself into her bed, into her house, into her bed, getting naked. He didn't come knock on the door with flowers, dressed in a tuxedo, saying, "Hi, I'd like to take your daughters out." He knew exactly what he was doing. So let's stop beating around the bush, feeling sorry for this guy. Now, I saw his mother being interviewed. She is gigantic, huge. And she was sitting there crying on the couch talking about, "I'm sad he's gone." That's it. I'm sad he's gone. She's crying, but she's saying, "I'm sad he's gone." She's not outraged. She's not bothered. She's not terribly bothered. Now, I have a political science degree. A lot of the political science degree is dedicated to studying psychology. And from my experience, in my small psychological research that I did and that I continually do, this type of person did not raise a fine young man. From what I saw of his friends, his style, their style, and his mother's behavior, she did not raise a fine young man. A fine young man doesn't crawl into a 16-year-old girl's bedroom at 2 o'clock in the night to have sex with her. He wasn't there to play hopscotch. He didn't come knock on the front door and present himself to the father and get permission to take her out. No, he weaseled himself into her bedroom. She's 16. She's not a 40-year-old woman. A lot of you women responding are thinking with your 40-year-old, 50-year-old, 60-year-old brain of what you would do. I want you to think back to 16 and how many defenses you had as a girl at 16 versus when you are secluded from much of society with a very strict and caring and probably very loving family who shields you from a lot versus a street hoodlum who, apparently, got around. Let's not beat around the bush here. Straight talk. Now, another thing that came up in my research afterwards is that in Texas, The age of consent is 17, not 16, and there is no grace period. A lot of states have an age of consent being 16, but there is a grace period of 2 years so that somebody 18 going out with the 16-year-old is considered technically a minor under the law, so they're both minors, so there is no statutory rape. In Texas, this is rape. There is no grace period. 16 is the cutoff, 17 is the cutoff, and there is no grace period. So a 16-year-old cannot have sex with anyone, no one. There is no grace period. There's no grace period to that. So even if he had not shot the kid, he was already on 911 seconds later. The police were on their way. They would have arrested him and charged him with rape, and he would have had 20 years. His life was over. He would have been alive, but his life was over as we know it, as any American would want their life headed in the right direction. His life was going absolutely nowhere. And for those of you who don't know, not that I'm an expert, in prison, rapists, no matter how you come about the term, if it's statutory, if it's whatever, rapists do the worst and hardest time. Meaning that the other prisoners beat them up or treat them badly or whatever, whatever that entails. I have heard rapists do not fare very well. They're on par with child molesters. Even the prisoners have a code of conduct, and they do not believe that raping and child molestation are honorable crimes. maybe murder, heat of passion, honorable. Maybe thievery, honorable. Robbing, mugging, maybe honorable. I know it's a crime, but anyway, rapists do not, no matter how you get about it. That's what I've heard. No matter if it was technically your girlfriend, but you were charged with rape, if the word rape is on your sheet, you're going to have a hard time. So that guy was not going to have a nice life any sort of way. That's not excusing the shooting, but I already said in my last video I would have done the same thing. And a lot of people ignore this simple fact. The father shows up to the room with gun in hand. Nobody is all of a sudden surprised when he pulls out a gun. He shows up to the room with the gun in hand and starts asking questions. First, the daughter, do you know who this is? She says no. Boom, that erases that entire other scenario. We're dealing with the boy. Get out of my house. The boy says no. Then quickly, and then here's the fact that everybody keeps missing who wants to challenge this. The boy quickly reaches for something in his clothes. He didn't have his clothes on, remember? So he reached for something in his clothes. Quickly. Father has gun in hand. Boy reaches quickly for something. Stupid? Yes. Fatal? Yes. Would you have done anything different? This is in Houston, Texas. There is nothing in this world that says that this young man did not have a gun and he was not reaching for a gun, because in that city, children, teenagers have guns and bring them to school. It is not unheard of. It is not shocking. It's not even out of the realm of possibility. It is very real and very life-threatening. He didn't wait to see something shiny. He didn't wait to see if it was a lollipop. He quickly reached for something. Okay, when you quickly reach for something and the person in front of you has a gun, we're talking about a quick draw here. This is what's going on. This is what's going on in the father's head, and this is what's going on in the daughter's head. Because frankly, she really did not know him. She might have thought she knew him, but she really did not. They both testified to the police that he quickly reached for something. Now, all of you trying to say how awful and terrible and blah, 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 and the whole 9 yards, tell me if you brought a gun because you heard there was an intruder in your young underage daughter's room and you showed the gun to everybody in the situation and the alleged intruder quickly reaches for something, tell me you would not shoot that boy. You don't know him. Nobody in the family actually knew him. He was not a friend of the family. He quickly reached for something while you are holding a gun. Tell me you would not shoot that boy. Thank you for watching the Shagama Live Show.